There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so the first point that we need to discuss, it says briefly describe your physical or cognitive domain intervention assignment from lesson 10 and 11. If your partner is here, then you can do that together. So, is anyone's partner, or were any of you partners for that assignment?
I think like she was gonna have us be partners, but she made us into like a group.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I ended up doing mine alone. So does someone want to just briefly, it says around 2 minutes each, talk about that?
I can start if you want.
Thanks.
So what we did, we picked people with short attention spans as ours, and we looked at different techniques for a teacher to use to help the student to be able to focus better. And so because of like things like ADHD and things like that, we looked up a bunch of different ideas, and there were things of like teaching activities that they could do that were more hands-on, so like using Play-Doh or like marshmallows and toothpicks to like create things, or to have like active activities where you like go outside and you run around to do things. Some of the problems that we saw with that were that it could affect other classes because they can be kind of rowdy activities, and so we wanted to make sure the teachers were aware that you don't want your kids to be too rowdy so that you don't affect other classes or even other students. If like you're having just one student do one of those activities, to make sure that they aren't like overpowering everyone else and not letting them focus. So yeah, that's pretty much what we did.
Awesome. I guess I can go next. I initially just...
That was for attention.
Oh,
I was just wondering. I didn't catch. It was for attention issues that they had?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like short attention.
Okay.
Okay, so I am echoing. Should I go grab some headphones? Are any of you having some feedback?
No.
No?
No, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. So I researched work ethic, which was a little bit of a stretch, but I made it work. I chose this topic because I have a lot of preteens, 11, 12-year-olds around me, my little brother and some cousins, and I just noticed that there's a definite issue in this. They have problems working hard and seeing things through, and so and I really believe that really hinders their future. I mean, this one cousin of mine, he will mow the lawn, but he'll quit halfway because it's too hot, too hard, goes inside and is very stubborn, and his mom goes and finishes the job for him, and that bothers me. So I kind of wanted to research this so I could implement this in my own family, and as I researched, it said that it's important to take appropriate tasks, chores, and help your children implement those chores, finish them, see them through, and on a consistent level, or just to be really consistent with doing these age-appropriate chores. And this instills confidence in them, and it propels them to keep working hard at things as they grow older, and it gives them a correct pattern to follow. So
That's interesting.
that was mine.
Kind of like what you did. I did mine on like childhood obesity, just because I'm interested in that, and along with childhood obesity, it affects their work ethic and how they do in school. Generally, the studies I was looking at showed that the obese children tend to be more lazy and don't want to do anything just because they're used to not doing anything. And so, as a family, it's good to have like age-appropriate tasks for them to do, and to involve everybody so they don't feel alone, to incorporate everybody in helping with this intervention. I think it's interesting that obesity could affect in their schooling and how they learn, and not just in that, but their work ethic and their like drive to do things. I think it's interesting. That's that. That was mine. Just really quick.
Thanks. Is Sasha? That was you, Sasha, right? So Jessica.
Yeah, that was me.
So we'll see if she comes back here.
Maybe your kids woke up or something.
Yeah. Sometimes when your internet goes in and out, you know, it'll just.
Yeah, it's kind of patchy today.
It's better than Adobe Connect, though. Did you guys ever do that?
No.
No.
Oh, this is like super user friendly compared to that. So,
Really?
glad they've like.
I've heard people that like it and don't like it, and I'm like, I'm all for easier is better.
Yeah. Okay, well, should we just go forward and then come back when she gets back? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds
I
fine.
think that's a good idea.
So the next one is, I'll just read it. It says, describe the social emotional domain intervention that you researched this week. State whether you have actually implemented the intervention personally to address the identified problem. If so, discuss how effective the intervention was. If not, discuss research or other evidence assessing the effectiveness of the intervention. So that was this week's assignment. Who would like to start with that one? One of you two? Or I can.
I can go first again. I don't mind.
Okay.
So I looked at attention, like short attention spans again, because I wanted to see it kind of not from the teacher's perspective, but just from like, I don't know, everyday social and how it affects like people individually. Like dive a little bit more into it. And so I kind of like started to look at my life because I get distracted really easily. So like I will be doing something and I'll be like, oh wait, I need to do this, and then I'll start doing that, and then I'll go off and do something else, and it's a vicious cycle because then I'll like cycle back to whatever I was doing in the beginning. And so I was looking up some ways to help with that, to stay focused better, and one of the things that it talked about was like making lists and not moving on to the next item until you finish the first one. So that way like you know what you have to do, but you haven't moved on to it yet, because I think sometimes the reason that I get off on other things is because I'm like, oh, I need to do this and I don't want to forget about it, so I'll just do it now. So I thought that was really helpful. Something else that I talked about was emotionally how it can affect you, like the emotional side of it is that like you don't connect as well with things because you're switching so often. And I didn't really see many interventions for that, but more of like a beware of this, because it can be difficult if you aren't connecting to people or things. If you're moving on too quickly, that you won't be able to form lasting relationships and things that are meaningful, like commitment will be low. And so I thought that was really interesting. And I also talked about how, like, I guess that affects socially too. Your group of friends, you'll most likely have a lot of not as close friends because of that attention thing. You want a lot of people around you, so you won't get as close to them, but you will have like shallow relationships with all of them. I mean, not necessarily super shallow, but like you won't be very deep. So I thought that was interesting that you see that in a lot of personality types where they have a lot of friends, but not super close ones. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I saw.
Good job. I think super true. In my life, sorry, when I've noticed when I'm like trying to read my scriptures or do things of the spiritual nature, I think that like our phones have taught us to like quickly, or like, I don't know, you can quickly change windows on your computer, you can quickly go from different tasks, and I noticed that when I'm trying to read my scriptures, I'm like get super bored after like 15 seconds. I'm like, I gotta go look somewhere else, and it's super helpful. So I think that's an awesome thing to research.
Yeah.
Okay, Sasha, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I did kind of the same thing, a little different, but along those lines. I grew up in a military family, and so we moved around a ton. And so, like you said, I didn't really make, like, deep friends, just, like, a bunch, but everywhere. I mean, there's a couple that I've kept in contact with for quite a while, but it's interesting to think that being around them or knowing that you're going to move, and so you just like refrain from making those relationships and like investing your emotions in it. It's like, well, I'm just going to leave in a year, so why am I even going to try? And I think that happens with a lot of kids, or if they know that they're leaving, or if they're not going to make super